Hello, one and all, and welcome to Creative Spark, my YouTube show where I talk to cool people about the cool things that they are doing. With me today is the most broken build on YouTube, Will from DnD Shorts.
Hey man, it's good to be here.
I had so many interruptions. I was going to be the shortest man on D&D YouTube, and I was like, I don't actually know how tall you are. And there's
People seem to think that I'm very tall for some reason. I've had people be surprised that I've had people say, "Wow, you're smaller than I expected." Um, but I'm not. I don't think I'm particularly like. I think I'm very normal size. I'm 5'11". I think that's pretty
you're
down the
taller than I
line.
am. I'm very
Yeah, yeah.
average height.
I would say in the UK that feels pretty down the line. But yeah, for some reason people assume that I'm tall. I guess it's just the aura I put
The
out. No, I'm
vibe.
pretty unimpressive, pretty standard down the line guy. But yeah, the most broken on YouTube. I mean, maybe. So there's a lot of stuff about my tech and my like that does not work. So, I'm always scrambling to get a video together anyway.
I was also going to go with best dressed man on YouTube because of the lovely
Yeah,
tops.
this is from this is because I'm recording a video about a wizard after this. Like it's a wizard build. It's interesting you say best dressed because I always have to apologize for how I dress. Because I all the clothes I buy is secondhand. I don't buy any first hand clothes at all apart from underwear and socks. So I look like what I can find, and that's it. That's my excuse. So people sometimes ask me, where do you get the weird stuff you wear? And
Mm,
it's from local fairs and it's from charity shops. So
very
if I
cool.
ever look bad, it's the people from the 70s. It's their fault.
Blame the people from 50 years ago. I respect it.
Yeah, yeah. They should have made better clothes, man.
They should have, honestly. It's a skill issue. They should have thought ahead. It's disgraceful. Um, yeah, how are you doing? You good?
Yeah, yeah, I'm good. It's been a crazy month for me. I think it's been one of the busiest months of my life. I think we'll get into like the charity stuff
Mm,
later that the Power Word Meal stuff that we've been doing, but also like I've been all over the world recording with different people,
mhm,
which it sounds very sort of exciting and glamorous. Like I was in Toronto, I was in the south of France, and then I was in Spain, all the Canary Islands with
mm.
Pointy Hat, literally just this weekend, while doing all the other stuff and trying to keep my YouTube channel going. So, yeah, like I say, it sounds really exciting, but what it actually boils down to is a lot of time on planes, a lot of
Mm.
time hanging around in airports, and then a lot of evening drinking. So I'm definitely exhausted, but I'm in a great spot. It's the 1st of October now, and generally the swoop in towards Christmas is a bit more chill for me this year anyway. So I'm excited for that.
It's definitely a good thing. Uh, let's go back to the beginning. So your first long form video was back in June 2021, right? But you were doing shorts before that. So
Yeah, I think my first short was in May, so not too much longer. But yeah,
okay,
yeah, I think the channel. Oops, sorry, I just opened up my channel so I could check. Yeah, my first my shorts were like I think a month before, and then I started doing longs pretty quickly.
hmm
Um, yeah, 2021, so 4 years. It flies, bro. It flies by. You would not believe 4 years. It sounds insane.
it does. What made you want to start a YouTube channel?
Well, I was already on YouTube.
Okay.
I was a if you want to know the full
Yes,
origin
because you
story.
were part of
Um,
what
what
culture?
culture? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. So I was like part of what culture. So before that, I grew up as a child prodigy musician. So I did music sort of 6 or 7 hours a day every day my entire life. Like I went to school and I played the drums, and I was in like loads of marching bands, and we went all over Europe. It was an awesome childhood. And then I went straight into uni. Just I've got a master's degree in music performance. That was all I did for sort of like a 24 years, and then I picked up the what culture job as a writer, just kind of on the side.
Mm,
Um, and I went straight from university basically into that.
mm.
Because I was already writing, and then I started voicing the things that I was writing, and then
Yeah.
I started editing the things I was voicing and writing. And I liked the what culture job quite a lot because I was not in the office um really ever.
Mm,
So I kind of missed a lot of the misery that comes with office jobs.
yeah.
When I went into the office, I don't think like it is a very fun job being a YouTuber, but being sort of a YouTuber within a company,
Mm,
I don't think a lot of people enjoyed that so much, or at least it was the worst part of a great job. But I was already there, so I was already doing it for a few years. I
yeah.
can't remember when I started. When I was young, like 20, 22, 23, and then I just kind of got to the point where I was like, if I'm writing a video, recording a video, editing a video, and then they upload it and take all of the money, it just kind of felt a bit. If the degree to which these big companies actually do anything. It's kind of, they don't do anything.
Yeah.
They just take all the money.
Yeah.
Like we were creating videos that were going viral. I think like several of them have made like 3 or 4 million views. That you do everything on them, and they probably make like tens of thousands of dollars. And I think I was on like £100 a day. So it's days a week, so it was like, that's, I figured let's try it for ourselves. Yeah, so we kind of just spun out into that, and the shorts feed was brand new, and I was like, this is perfect because I have a job already on the side. So if I can just make something in an hour twice a week, 2 hours a week, just to give it a shot, we'll give it a try. So I did. And my sister bugged me to put it on TikTok, which I had never used. And I was like, fine, whatever. So I did, and like I think I've dropped the first short on YouTube, and it made like 7 views in a day. But on the first day on TikTok, it did like 100,000, and I had 10,000 followers already. And I was like, that was really motivating. Wow. I don't think I would have kept going with how horrible YouTube is to get started. Because I didn't tell anyone that I was doing this either. I told nobody. I didn't want fans from What Culture to come over. I want it to be completely different. So yeah, TikTok really kind of motivated me to keep going because it showed there was an audience, and then it kind of spiraled from there. Yeah,
that's very cool. How did you decide on the name for the channel?
It's a terrible name, isn't it?
It's not a terrible. I mean, it sticks. It's easy to remember.
Don't try. Yeah, well, it was because I was making short form content about Dungeons and Dragons. That's kind of how I started. Now I make long form content about multiple games. So the name is just wrong. It's objectively wrong. It's terrible. Thankfully, it's spelt DnD with an N, not with an ampersand. So that's not Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons is spelt with the little, D&D could mean anything. They don't own the letter D or the letter N.
No.
It was literally just, I just needed to call it something, and I was like, I'm making short form content about this game, so let's just call it that. And again, it's kind of one of those things that, like, the short feed was brand new back then. We didn't really know anything about it. We didn't even really understand what it was. So it's just like, your shorts, but in hindsight, I think it would have been much better. I think some great names, like Pointy Hat's a great name. XP Level 3 is a great name. Ginny D's a great name. The Dungeon Dudes is, again, you're getting a bit close, but it's kind of fine. Like, so I don't think D&D Shorts is a very good name at all. I would rebrand if I could, but I can't think of anything different anyway. It's not like I've got this great name in the back of my head, and I'm like, yes, if only I can just switch it across. So I just kind of learned to live with it. But it is, it's just kind of very boring. It was like very unimaginative name.
Have you ever considered pivoting to just your name as the channel name?
Yeah, I mean, like that's what Ginny does, right? And Matt Colville, I guess, does that. I don't think so. My name isn't particularly interesting. I think Pointy Hat one day suggested like Will Save. He was like, you should change your channel to Will Save, like a wisdom save, kind of like in Pathfinder they call them Will Saves, and my name is Will. So I was like, maybe. It wasn't a bad idea. Maybe it's a good name for like a company that is maybe a charity or something, but I don't know for a YouTube channel. If I ever think of something really good, I might try to transition. But it'll take years of like branding stuff. It's like, it would be,
Yeah. What was the point at which the YouTube channel was like a thing that was not just a thing on the side, but was suddenly something you were doing?
It was pretty fast. It was unusually fast for me. I think within 3 months of starting, I started getting sponsorships. So, you kind of make your first short on May 16th or whenever it was. And then like, I definitely by September, because I was away, I went away on like a friend, like with my D&D group, we went to someplace in the north of Spain, just to kind of play games. And I remember being on that trip, and we were chatting about it, and I was like, we were like, oh man, it's real, isn't it? Yeah, it's like whoa, dude, like you blew up, like what the hell? Like I think we were at like 50,000, 60,000 subscribers within those first 3 months, and it was like, when people start sponsoring you to talk about their product a little bit in your video, that's usually when you can start making ends meet. Which is enough to take it on full time. But again, it felt very natural because I was already doing YouTube stuff. It was just now it's the YouTube stuff that it was, I wasn't, the profit of my labor wasn't being stolen anymore, which felt nice, you know, but that was the only, but it was very much like a very gradual, easy, I slipped right into it, it's the only thing I've ever really done apart from music. So it made sense.
It's a wild transition from like boy genius Prodigy musician to
Certainly not a
YouTuber.
genius. No, no. But I just played the
I'm
drums a
saying
lot.
genius.
I was just very, 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 very fast. But yeah, I mean, in an odd way, they're similar. They're similar in that you spend a huge amount of time alone, um, despite being in front of a lot of people.
Mm.
I actually think that's very, very similar thing about being a musician. Especially when I was a kid, I traveled around in large ensembles. So we did a lot of stuff, a lot of marching band stuff across Europe. We played like Disneyland and stuff. So
Wow.
you're in with all your friends, like they're
Yeah.
other kids, and you're kind of just traveling around, which is amazing. But when you get to that more technical, like university level, we're talking hours and hours and hours alone in a practice room every day. That is actually not that different to being a writer and an editor,
Mm.
which is a long, long time alone, kind of locked in. So in an odd way, they are a little bit similar. In the same way that they're quite obsessive. Like
Yeah.
you push your you get really addicted to progression when you play music. That's why I loved it so much. You can see yourself get better every single day.
Mm.
And in a weird way, YouTube is like that with the growth.
Yeah.
It's very addictive. In an unhealthy way, perhaps. I've kind of fallen now that I'm a bit older, a bit more mature. I kind of don't care about that stuff anymore. But certainly in the early days, it's very, very addictive. So they do sort of dovetail into one another in an odd way. I suppose they're both performance based.
Mm.
So you get used to being in front of people. You get used to talking.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a fun life. I've enjoyed it a great deal.
It's incredibly cool. How do you decide what to do videos on nowadays?
Usually it's just what do I think people might be interested in, or what interests me. I try not to limit an idea based on, oh, I can't do that, it's not going to do very well, if that makes sense. I try and find a way to talk about something that's very interesting to me in a way that it hopefully will appeal to people. With regards to the shorts form content, it's usually like, oh, that's funny, I'll make a video on that. I don't think about it too much. Long form, I think there's a lot of kind of there's formats that really help you out. So you can, you talk about, like, you can divide D&D up into so many different ways. So I talk about this class this week, I think today, literally today, there's a video coming out which is like ranking every cleric in D&D, So I get to talk about all of them. I get to say what I like about them, what I think could be better. This one's really strong, this one's a bit weaker, but it's fun for this type of campaign. So once you get those kind of tier lists rolling, once you've done one on clerics, you can do one for every other class.
Yeah.
These builds are underrated, so you do your favorite underrated multi-classes. I'll probably do a series on like every multi-class for a fighter, every multi-class for a bard, and ranking those. You can kind of see how it goes like that.
Yeah.
You take the game and you're like, how can we explore these in a digestible format? And that gives you hundreds of video ideas.
Yeah.
And then of course you go into new stuff. I'm doing more stuff in D&D lore now. I'm reading up about it on the side. I'm enjoying that. Honestly, it's very, very new. I think I've done one video on it so far, but that video did great. So I've got another one coming out hopefully very soon. I can't wait to get more into that. And if you can break into that and enjoy it, I mean, there's stories in this world for thousands of years. You could never run out of videos if you're talking about all the various creatures and worlds and environments. That'll be really fun. So.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a YouTuber like Mr. Rex, who obviously does the lore based videos, and they're absolutely right?
Yeah, Mr. Rex is awesome. Yeah. And you could so easily pivot as well. If you Mr. Rex, if you ever wanted to, I think he has done in the past. I think he might have even started as an Elden Ring or like a Dark Souls lore person. Elden Ring will come out after. But yeah, he was definitely he didn't just do D&D lore. He kind of fell into D&D lore, but he's done other lore stuff, and those videos do really well as well. So you can always pivot out via lore, which is really nice. You don't have to say, like, if I got really big doing D&D lore videos for like 3 years now, I don't think people would freak out if I did like a Zelda lore video or something like that. So that's exciting.
That is cool. You are one of the YouTubers who I think fights the hardest for charity. Generally speaking, in your videos, you make a big point of explaining that your YouTube earnings primarily go to charity, and the work that you've done that. You obviously have shared fairly personal stories regarding your nephews, nieces. Nibblings. Nibblings is the word for the collective, by the way. It's a great word. What kind of made you want to pivot into that and the more personal kind of show of yourself in your videos?
I think the personal stuff, maybe it's annoying, but I think it just provides necessary context. You know, or at least it's a powerful to offer that side of the story.
Mm.
The charity stuff comes from a pretty. I think it's a rational thing to do. I think it is the rational thing to do. I think it is irrational to not give to charity when you have a certain amount of money. I was, you know, what I noticed was, um, as I got bigger, my salary was going up, but my happiness levels were staying the same because I was already happy. I want to make it. I do want to make it clear. I'm not a martyr. I am not poor. But I'm not rich, and I will never be rich. I do pretty well, and then anything else on top of that I give away, because the difference between earning sort of £80,000 a year and £180,000 a year in the UK, where I live in the north of England, is insignificant. Whereas the difference between, you know, whereas that £100,000 could save, you know, 100,000 lives. And I simply cannot believe that it is more important that people who have a bit of money, you know, grasp every dollar that they can. I don't believe it's more important that you have an extra 100,000 than 100,000 people don't get food. I don't think that's rational at all.
Yeah, of course.
So to me, it felt it's not a sacrifice at all to give the money away that I give. It changes literally nothing about my life. If I kept all of it, the only thing that would be different, well, I would still live in this home, which I like. You know, I don't have a car. I don't eat meat, so my grocery bills are the price of vegetables. I live very cheap. So, you know, nothing would change. Nothing would change at all. I would be just as happy. And I've met many rich people who are desperately unhappy, unfortunately, and their money is doing nothing for them. It's doing nothing for them at all. Like, how much money do you need before you're happy? If you're miserable when you're a millionaire, if you're miserable when you're a 10 millionaire, at what point are you like, well, you know, clearly money is not the answer. Maybe I should try, you know, helping someone. But again, I'm not trying to have a go at people who, you know, I think people do what they can. I'm privileged in the sense that I am a happy person anyway. So I recognized that the money was not changing my life. So I saw no reason to hang on to it. And I want to get to the point where I donate 100% of the YouTube money to charity, which we're not like a million miles away from, I want to say. I think if I could get another sort of like 700-ish Patreon supporters, I think we'd be there. I could talk a lot about this. Sorry. I will also say the other thing I sort of started recognizing was the more charity stuff that I did, the more inspired I was by my community, by the people who kind of supported me. And I started to realize that I think it's a bit weird that a lot of big creators who are very, very, very wealthy, some of them, like really big time rich, are always hitting up their audience for money. And I think like raising awareness and running these charity campaigns is so important, and it's a great thing to do, and they should be celebrated for that. But at the same time, I was watching a live stream of a D&D group playing with a friend, and she said to me like, "Oh, what are they doing?" And I can't remember what it was for. It might have been for like a catastrophe somewhere. And I was like, "Oh, they're raising money for this. We should let's give them $100, you know." And she was like, "But didn't you say these people are all millionaires? Weren't they like this really high position in the industry?" And I was like, yeah, I suppose they are. And she was like, "Well, why don't they give any money?" I was like, they might do on the side.
Yeah, of course.
But I think it is a good point. I think it is a good point that sometimes you see these like big companies or these big groups where sort of everyone sitting around the table is worth 100 million or whatever, or you know 10 million. And they're like, okay, let's go to our audience who are everyday people are struggling. You know what I mean? And you're like, let's hit them for $10 each. So I thought that was a little hypocritical of me to always be, you know, talking that charity this, charity that, and not actually giving anything myself. You know what I mean? When you're kind of hitting up people who might very well have less than you for money, even if it's for a good cause, I don't want to do that. I want to be in the trenches with those people, because the people who help, even if they don't have that much, the people who give $1, you know, they're the people who I really respect and admire, and that, you know, I find that incredibly inspiring. I don't want to be distant from them. I want to be in there with them. So this is kind of my way of trying to do that.
Okay, very, very, very cool. I have lots of thoughts I'm not going to put on a recorded video regarding Capitalism.
Yeah. I mean, it is funny. I think it's a perspective, isn't it? I'm not having a go. If anyone feels differently, that's fine too. But this is what works for me. And if you have a lot of money, I found that giving even quite a lot of it away doesn't hurt at all. Which is counter to the narrative we're fed a lot as children, but actually it's the truth.
I mean, a certain amount of money makes you happy up until a point, right? Like if you can meet all your basic needs with your money, then that's important, and not having enough as that is obviously stressful. But yeah, once you get past, there's been
100%. Yeah, there is. I think there's been studies done on it. The study is a few years old, but I think the study said about £70,000 a year for a household in England was like the cutoff point. And at that point, more money did not change people's joy in life at all.
No.
So it's an interesting thing to think about, isn't it? Because we're kind of taught like money is the end goal. But if you understand that sort of happiness and peace of mind are the end goal, you find that you actually, if you are lucky enough to have a degree of success, you find that you can actually, do quite a lot with it. You can do a lot of good with it. I find it very rewarding.
Yeah. This pivots nicely into the current drive, which is obviously Power Word Meal, where you have become king of the UN, I believe, is what you said.
I now lead the United Nations,
which is amazing.
So Power Word Meal, I just popped it up now. So the Power Word Meal was the United Nations reached out to me. John at the UN reached out to me directly because they were sort of looking into new avenues. They always are to kind of fundraise, or it's specifically the United Nations World Food Program, right? The United Nations is enormous. They've got various departments, so this is their kind of World Food Program area. So it's all about getting food to people who need it, with absolutely no political angle at all. They will feed. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are. Literally, it does not matter. They would feed anyone, and they get essentially they get food to people who don't have food, which I can't personally think of anything more important. So I was like, what an honor for a start to be even asked. And then we were like, okay, let's try this. I've got experience managing campaigns on Kickstarter. This is obviously going to be very different. It's a charity thing. We can't invest like hundreds of thousands of dollars into like making a book team, but let's do what we can, and see how it goes. And we set up the campaign. I spent a bunch of time reaching out to people for like, can you donate a product for us? Can you donate this? Basically a whole lot of parasocial networking at the like influencer level, and then a whole bunch of creative stuff on my side. Like we made a new species, we made a new like an adventure. Willie Abil made the adventure from MCDM. He's from he worked on the Draw Steel game. Really wonderful guy. And then we got some great art from Sinlair and Richard Nguyen. Just like and then we built it all together in this package, and we just kind of launched out into the world. And I was hoping that we could feed 30,000 people. I was like, if we could feed 30,000 people, this will all have been worth it, because it was an unbelievable amount of work. It was in a way it was harder than making my Kickstarter book, because in the Kickstarter I was just part of a huge team. So I had my bit to do, and I loved doing that. But there was always people with Power Word Meal. It was basically me, and then the graphic designer Yelka, who was kind of like my rock. I was just leaning on him all the time. I was like, bro, I can't do it no more. I don't think it would have happened had he not helped for free. What an incredible guy. And so I was like, this is really, really difficult for me, but if I can get to 30,000 people fed, it'll have been worth it. And it's been less than, I think it's been 5 days, and we're up to 257,000 people fed. So it's been mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing again, and that's entirely thanks to so many wonderful people across the entire spectrum of the industry. From the most people are on the kind of the ground floor, like they're fans, they're people who just are part of the TTRPG space, they're players, they're game masters, and they're donating, that's the huge part. It's just normal people saving the lives of other normal people. It's just people helping each other. But then if you kind of go up the chain of like progression, there's people like Paizo who really like did a lot to make it work. So they're like donating 1 meal for every sale on their ongoing backer kit for Pathfinder Quest. They sent a copy of Pathfinder Quest, it's just over there, to give away. And they really fought to make that happen. The same with the Roll20 guys. Anne over at Roll20 was like, they really fought to make it as big as possible from their side, to push it. Che Peku have done so much. Roll for Combat, I hopped on a call with Stephen from Roll for Combat, just to talk about it. And at the end of the call, he just donated 3,000 meals. He just was like 3,000 meals, just have them. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
You know, just like for a, you know, he was like, I was just explaining, he was like, boom, just take it. And then, you know, so, and there's more too. I'm sure I'm forgetting Alchemy VTT, right? Like, so you have all of these people, like these big kind of creators donating, and then you have all the influencers pushing it on their side too. It really feels like it's been the entire force of the community, like a big old Hadouken blast. You know, everyone's building up here, and then
full spirit bomb.
bunch of food.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course it's such a reputable and open charity as well. I think Share the Meal is, I don't know if, can you ever say this is the best charity on earth? Who, you know, there's probably a lot of contenders, but Share the Meal has to be one, because it's the United Nations. It's as transparent as you can get.
Yeah.
You know, you can't, you know, you wonder sometimes about charities, and you have to be so careful. I think a big part of the success of this one is the credibility the UN just bring to everything they do, which is, it makes it a pleasure to work with.
Very, very cool.
But yeah, it's still going, by the way. I'm not sure when this goes live, but if anyone wants to donate and enter the giveaway, I didn't even mention the giveaway really, but yeah, we've got a bunch of prizes you win when you donate. You get a big TTRPG package, and then you can also win prizes if you choose to enter the additional giveaway. Including, there's awesome stuff. I've made a video about it, maybe if we link it or something, but yeah, there's tons of amazing things.
You also get the free PDF with some cool new monsters and the Paugafoot and a bunch of other cool stuff, which has beautiful artwork and it's very well designed as well. So
for both Pathfinder and D&D, whichever version you play as well, you get it. Yeah,
it's good stuff. I've donated 50. I might donate more. See how the month goes.
No, but isn't that incredible isn't it incredible how in a strange way how simple the world is? I think the world feels so confusing and frightening sometimes for a lot of people. It's like, I think a lot of people want to help, they just don't know how.
Yeah.
But it's literally, no, that's 50 families fed. Like that. Isn't that unbelievable?
No, it is.
That you just fed 50 people. You know, if I always say, like, you know, if any of us walked past a child on the street who was hungry, like, of course you would help them. Of course you would.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't think that there's many people in the world who wouldn't. Of course you would help, you know, a vulnerable, and you would help them a lot more. It would cost you a lot more. You know, you'd spend maybe hundreds of pounds to get that child safe, to get that child, you know, and we can do it, you know, when we all come together under like a banner like this, we can do it so cheaply. You know, it's 80 cents, 85 cents to feed, you know, a family. It's absolutely incredible.
It's about 32 quid. No, I mean, would like to be part of these things. Yeah, it was about 32 quid for the 50 meals, which is like a preposterously low price for the UK. Obviously, we've got conversion rates in our favour there.
Yeah, it's incredible. And a lot of it, obviously the economy of scale, and a lot of what they do is, you know, they're getting like baby formula and stuff like that. You know, it's really, you know, it's key stuff, and they can do it very cheaply. And also, for what it's worth as well, it's also good food. You know, and like they get like nutritionally valuable food. You know, they're not grabbing people McDonald's. Well, thank you for doing that, man. That's, you know, that's incredible, right? Just saving lives, that's just what you do, you know, apparently. That's incredible.
Well, the link for the whole thing will be in the description, obviously. It's the current push. This will be going up on the 2nd, so it's tomorrow for us.
Oh, great. Yeah.
We're in the past.
Incredible. We're in the past. Yeah, well, we're at 257 now. So again, we're at like 8 times what my dream was 30,000. So we're 8 times that.
A quarter million.
You know, anything more beyond here is unbelievable.
Yeah, a casual 250,000 is definitely something that I think we should all be proud of, for sure.
Yeah.
Is this an initiative that you'll be taking? Is this something you'll be doing regularly? Are you going to be doing more charity drives like this in the future?
I mean, it's hard to say right now, just because it did kind of kick my ass, like in a more significant way than anything else has done. But at the same time, like, it's very hard to say that you wouldn't try to replicate it, right? Because we've done so much, like, everyone's come together, it's done so much good. I mean, I struggle to see what's more important. You could be like, okay, yeah, my channel has suffered, obviously, right? I haven't given it the time, right? You know, like, the videos aren't as regular as they should be, you know. But at the same time, right, like, who cares? You know, we've fed 250,000 people. Yeah. Like, you know, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So I've got to be considerate of you know, like, myself, right? I can't if I collapse, if I just have if I just break down and I disassociate from everything, I'm like, no, I can't do it. Then then that's no good. But I would love to do stuff like this more.
Mm.
I think there's also kind of like a diminishing returns element. Like, people are donating in a way, because it's powerful, but also, again, times are tough for a lot of people. You can't do a charity drive like this every month.
No.
I mean, you could, but the impact would be significantly less, right? You can't just hit people up over and over and over again. So I would love to. I don't know if Power Word Meal would ever come back. I mean, I would be amazing if someone else did Power Word Meal. Like, I would love that. If I could be anyone, like, if of any size, but if another big YouTuber like Ginny or Pointy Hat or the Dungeon Dudes or XP Level 3 or Joke Out or someone, I've not spoken to any of them about this. I'm not saying they should or that they would be able to, like, with their schedules and their commitment, but that would be incredible. Or someone like, Dimension 20 or Critical Role or Legends of Adventures, any of the, like, that would be amazing. I don't want Power Word Meal to be a D&D Shorts thing.
Yeah.
I want it to be a TTRPG thing. So I would love that. That would actually, melt my heart if someone was like, "Hey, man, can we do Power Word Meal?" I'd be like, "Yes." Oh my god. But I suppose it'd be up to the UN too, right? They have to vet people they work with and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's no one in this industry they wouldn't, I'm sure, work with. But in the short term, if it was going to be done again, I certainly don't think it would be done for another 2 years. I don't think it would be on the cards for 2026. I will do other things for charity, of course, all the way through. And we're donating all the time anyway, But I think something of this scale would have to be sort of like an on year and off year situation.
Makes perfect sense. Okay. Is there anything that you would like to plug outside of Power Word Meal, which again will be in the description?
Honestly, I would nothing particularly. I would say, if you really want to help Power Word Meal as well, like, do take the time to. You don't need to buy anything, but take the time to check out the people who did directly sponsor it. Take the time to check out Roll for Combat and Pathfinder Quest, and check out the stuff on the DMs Guild. Check out Chepeku. Check out Alchemy. I think that they really did a lot and they did it in the understanding that it was to be nice. They're not. It's not we say sponsorship, but it's not like they're not grasping at every penny. They're not like, yes, this is a good investment. They're doing it because they care and they want to help. And it's kind of like just they understand that. Well, they are the leaders in our community, and that's just kind of what they do. So I think that's a wonderful thing. Maybe check out some of the stuff going on Kickstarter right now. I think there's a load of Kickstarter books coming out this month. So hop on Kickstarter and check out the kind of wild stuff people are doing. There's some crazy stuff on there.
Yep.
I won't name drop one because then I'll get in trouble with all the others. Like I'll forget someone. But basically, hop on and try support some folks making some awesome stuff. But yeah, apart from that, to shout out, really, I'm Power Word Meal on the brain. I can't think about anything else right now. I guess I also have a Patreon. If you want to check that out, if you download the Power Word Meal stuff and you like the stuff on there, I make stuff like that every month on Patreon too. So, yeah,
very, very cool. Thank you.
I guess, and subscribe to this channel, right? As well, we should say that this channel should be subscribed.
I never say that in interviews.
Yeah, I think you should. You should, bro.
I probably should. I'm not good at this.
I'm always watching videos, and I'm like, I love this guy. And then they'll be like, "Are you subscribed?" And I'll check, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I've been watching for 5 years. I wasn't subscribed." So yeah, it's useful to remind people.
That's fair.
Give it a like and a subscribe.
Thank you so much for finding time out of your incredibly busy schedule to come and do this. It is greatly appreciated.
No, it's my pleasure, dude. Absolutely. Thanks for making it happen. Yeah, and thanks for Power Word Meal donation, man. That's crazy. Yeah,
it's okay. Just being part of it. Yeah, we'll just Pointy Hat coined it. We're just going to awkwardly wave at the camera as the sign off. That's it. Nice and simple.
Sounds good. Did he go like this at the end? Mwah.
No, he didn't. We could do that. We could add that.
He didn't? What? Oh my goodness. I'm going to have a word. Yeah, okay, let's do that. Okay, let's give it a wave.
We'll give it a wave. And then
Mwah.